don't worry about the money being spent by the U.S. government in foreign aid, either Ukraine, Israel, or wherever it is. Don't worry. It's not really your money that they're spending. They're just printing more of it. If that sounds stupid, it's because it is. And yet, that is the explanation that I just saw from the people from The Hill, this YouTube channel with almost 2 million subscribers. And I don't know either one of these two guys. Yes, of course, they're in the middle of Tucker Carlson, but these two wearing a suit, and I guess they know something about politics and the economy. Well, apparently not. Apparently I'm a fool that believed that these folks understood even the most basic concept of what the economy, money, and inflation is. Check this out.
And should be outraged by what happened is totally distinct for what the U.S. government should do about it, and whether the U.S. government is obligated. And the U.S. government is not some entity that exists apart from us. It is reliant on our funding. It is our money. It is our tax dollars that comprise what it does. Does it make the world safer for the U.S. government to be more involved in this conflict, or the Ukrainian conflict, or any number of conflicts occurring in? And
before I go on, this is important to clarify. What kind of aid are you giving? Is it money? Are you just sending $1 billion? Are you sending military aid? Are you sending tanks, missiles, bullets, whatever the hell you're sending? Which one is it? Because it's not the same thing. If you're sending money, that's one thing. If you're sending, for example, a tank that you were already planning on throwing to the damn ocean, and if you don't believe me, check it out yourself. Google it up. There's YouTube clips of it. Entire armored vehicles and tanks being thrown into the ocean because they are past their prime or whatnot. Are you sending those in the form of military aid? And not only that, are you gonna see your money back? And this is also important. Is it just a gift that there's no intention of ever returning, or is this an aid that will have to be paid back? Again, don't just trust me. Google it up yourself, not about the bullshit that people are saying, but what actually has happened before. You're probably surprised to learn that Russia has been paying up until 2006. Russia was still paying the United States for the aid that it received in World War II. So which one is it? Am I sending $100 million worth of aid to Ukraine in the form of tanks, and Ukraine will have to repay them later, unavoidably so? Yes, they will have to pay it if that's the agreement, because you're dealing with the stronger part of this deal. You don't have much of a choice. Are you going to be stuck with a bill and having to give contracts to U.S. companies in your different arrangements so as to pay back? What kind of deal is it? It's not all the same. Are we just giving money away, or are we just doing business? Okay, this is crucial because it's not the same thing. If I'm gonna get repaid, well, maybe it's actually a good investment. Maybe it's actually good business for me. Or is this just money that I just sent away without any expectation of ever seeing back?
In Asia, Africa, South America, all over the world, many, I don't know what exact number of Republican voters don't want us to be the world police anymore, have repudiated that tendency that was only popular among the leaders.
What he obviously doesn't understand is that this is a massive part of the U.S. economy. The U.S. economy is basically funded by different wars and conflicts and selling of weapons and military contracts. He either doesn't understand that, or he chooses not to bring it up, which I think is relevant to the discussion.
Of the Republican Party, the elites. Tucker Carlson was a brave voice against them, and I'm glad to see him speaking up here again.
Yeah, he starts this video by obviously condemning the horror of civilians being killed in Israel, and he does focus his critique on the funding issue. Now, he doesn't weigh in on the underlying crisis, but many people noted that he is becoming a lone voice on the right with respect to Israel. While there was a cohort of people who were willing to criticize unlimited funding to Ukraine, it just is not the same scenario. So much so that Josh Hawley tweeted yesterday, quote, "Israel is facing an existential threat. Any funding for Ukraine should be redirected to Israel immediately." I mean, there's just not even a beat, not even a pause here. And I do think that
it's not his money. It's not the Ukrainians' money. It's not the Israelis' money. It's the American people's money.
Yeah, and I do think that there is something. I mean, I gotta just put a footnote in that I don't think that's not how we fund wars. That's not how we fund anything. It's not taxpayer money that's literally going to this. We have unprecedented fiscal independence and the ability to print money and do whatever we want, and that is exactly how we fund all of these multi-trillion-dollar forever wars. That being said,
she does not know any better. Don't get angry at her. I know she's wearing her little suit there, her little, I'm the smart lady here. She does not know what she's talking about. Did you just hear what she just said? It has to be one of the most stupid things I've heard from someone pretending to be smart in the last decade. This is just sad. It is depressing to see that this is what being said in The Hill. Almost 2 million subscribers, and they do political and economic discussion, and this is the level that we're at. You don't understand what's going on here, lady. You think that the money that is being printed is not affecting you. This is stealing from you. This is stealing not only from you, this is stealing from you and the poorest of the poor. And the more poor you are, the more they end up stealing from you. Inflation is theft. It's not just theft. It's even worse than walking into a bank with a gun and stealing from a bank. No, this is stealing from everyone, but even more so stealing from the poorest of your population, the ones that will be affected more. This is this all over again. I'm talking about this because I've gone through this myself, as you guys know. And the inflation that we suffered in Argentina, and we still suffer till this day in Argentina, is directly this experience that she obviously does not know. She thinks that when money is being printed, it doesn't affect you. She is so naive. She hasn't got any clue whatsoever. She does not understand that the more money they print, the less the money in your pocket is worth, and the more you will have to work and sacrifice so as to get the same thing that you got before. Up until the moment in which you're poor, you're increasing. The more money they print, the more poor you become, the richer they become. The more money they print, the more inflation destroys your purchasing value and your quality of life. The more poor you become, and the more expensive it is for you that needs the basics. Stuff like food, energy, housing, all of these things going through the roof. The poorer you are, the more it will affect you. These trillionaires and billionaires that make money out of these contracts that they sign, that's how they steal from you. Doesn't matter if it's Ukraine, doesn't matter if it's Israel, doesn't matter if it's aid. The moment in which they start signing contracts for more weapons and they start giving themselves more money, right? So as to, in theory, help someone else or replace whatever needs to be replaced. Whatever mechanism they're using, they're stealing from you the moment they start printing more money for that. And that's why things are the way they are now after the pandemic, when they started giving money away to who? Everyone? No, themselves. It was a drop in the bucket, the money that actually reached the people that needed it during the COVID money aid or whatever the bullshit name they had for it. It was all for them. It was all for their own contracts. When the military sign, when BlackRock or Vanguard signs, or whatever these companies, Raytheon, whatever of these companies, Lockheed, any of these companies that signs a new contract for a new whatever, doesn't matter if it's a missile, doesn't matter if it's a plane, it's trillions of dollars, and it's overpriced. It is theft. It is corruption to a level you cannot begin to understand. It's not just, this is complex technology. No, a screw is a screw no matter where it's made. If it's a 5-cent screw being sold in a hardware store, and because it's going through Lockheed Martin, it now costs $500, and I'm not even exaggerating. I'm not even kidding. Again, look it up yourselves. You will see that that's how it works. A pump that is worth $50, $10,000. A little screw or a little washer that costs like 10 cents. Well, $100. Why not? Make up numbers as you wish. In general, it's 500%, 1,000% overpriced throughout the entire deal, throughout the entire contract, for all of it. And all of that money, they just channel it out of your pockets through inflation, through printing more money for themselves, and they send a plane, or they send a tank, or they send a rocket launcher, right, to Ukraine or Israel or wherever that ends up going. But that's money being funneled out of your pocket with that excuse, which is a great excuse for them, because people are, yeah, we have to save this or that. And they fall for it like dumbasses. Because at the end of the day, unfortunately, that's what we have in most of our population, no matter where you are in the world. Trust me, again, I've seen it firsthand. And unfortunately, you're likely to see it yourself. So get ready for it. You have Surviving the Economic Collapse, and you have my other book, Street Survival Skills. You definitely want to get these two. Given what I just saw, this is in your future, because people don't understand shit.